tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Hit the lights this Sunday night. Welcome to SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network and proudly presented by Hewitt Domaduros Law, HDLawSC.com, where Brad and Dean will make you a part of their family and defend you in any way possible. Make sure that you give them a call or just go to HDLawSC.com where you can connect with Amanda and she can get you hooked up for all that you need for your insurance claims, personal injury, stair falls, dog bites, whatever the case may be, spills, whatever you got, okay? And we're here with you, me, Craig, Casey, Rob Williams, Craig McMichael, as always, and our good friend, the esteemed and award-winning producer of the Message Board Genius podcast, with the best vocal cords on the planet, the sultry tones that tickle our ears. Casey Cregan is here once again, and we're excited for another show. It is our last preview show. As we've made our way through all 16 teams, in about an hour, we'll be done. With that, Chris Marler will be here in the second half of the hour to hang out with us. And we're on the edge of Omaha. Boys, what's going on? How are we feeling on a Sunday night? Craig's outside.
Yeah, it doesn't come across very well, does it? Well,
I think that Craig is
is he gloating
about something about some dogs?
Hey, who needs a bullpen when you can just bang it, baby? Don't worry about blowing leads. Don't worry about being up 7-1. They're like, this game's over. Dude, we'll just smash it.
Here's what I have to say from the jump, and we won't bury this lead, right? Texas, Mississippi State, one of the best super regional series that we have seen, sets a record for most home runs in
Mississippi State. Or Texas, Mississippi State.
Did I say Texas? Sorry.
You did say Texas.
Georgia, Mississippi State, one of the best super regional series that we have seen. A record for home runs since the bat change in 2011. This is just phenomenal. If you like offensive baseball, just exciting back and forth. For me, it's not just the home runs. It's the nature of how it went back and forth, Casey, that just made this one exhilarating from start to finish. It almost felt like in both cases, it's one of those things where if you're unbiased just watching the game, neither team deserves to lose as much as they are going back and forth there. But somebody's obviously got to win the game, and Georgia gets it done twice to go 6-0 against the Starkville Dogs on the season.
Yeah, that series deserved Johnny Holstaff Game 3, 26-25 type of game tomorrow, but Georgia pulled it off at the end. Yeah, it was exciting from start to finish. Both days, one of the teams broke out to a big lead, and the team that was losing came back and made it a game, and then it went back and forth until the ninth. Mississippi State had a chance with their best hitter, arguably their hottest hitter. I won't say their best hitter, their hottest hitter, up at the plate, and couldn't pull through. 2 men on too, so
listen,
it was
the
fun.
Dogs came through when it mattered most. There was never a doubt. We want to make sure that the people got their money's worth. People were complaining. It's 11 a.m. It's a noon first pitch. Dude, welcome to college lacrosse, brother. This is the time we play. You go and you show up, and you win the damn game. How about
They showed
that?
up. They showed
Get your
up.
jello shots ready. Let's go.
Here's the Casey curse, because I feel like everything I say, the opposite happens.
Stop it.
I mean, outside of maybe Texas, who beats Georgia?
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm gonna be insufferable, even more so than I've been like the last 3 weeks, or the whole time we actually had
I had the bracket here. They're playing and right off the bat, they're playing Texas. Pretty much, if they beat Oregon.
Bring on the gauntlet. I'm sure Texas will probably bail out just like they're bailing out of the Lubbock series.
We're not doing that 2 weeks in a row. Can we talk? Let's zoom out a little bit here and talk about, to your point, Casey, the bracket. We've had some delays, obviously, today with the weather in Kansas, between Kansas, Oklahoma, an old Big 12 matchup, now a Big 12 SEC matchup. We've had delays there. What's the other one that I'm missing?
St. John's in Alabama.
St. John's in Alabama, where Alabama obviously is up 1-0 and opportunity to close that one out today as well. The dominant nature of the SEC yesterday is something that we've talked about in on the baseball field for years. We've talked about it today. I mean, this season a fair amount, but just in terms of a concentrated sample size for one day where you have so many SEC teams at play in the super regional round, the only SEC teams to lose were the ones who played other SEC teams, and the SEC teams that played outside of the league won by 7 or more runs in all those games. Shout out to our friend John Smith, John Tweet Sports, for providing that stat. Look,
Live from Paris.
huh?
Live from Paris. Grab your pain du chocolat. That's a chocolate croissant, Casey. Glorious.
Just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Now we have Ole Miss is in. They will face North Carolina after the walk-off for the Heels earlier today. You got West Virginia and Troy. Skylar Meade getting the Trojans.
What do you think of Carolina's uniforms today?
North Carolina's uniforms?
Carolina's. I thought they looked really nice. Those,
you don't say that on here, especially on
Carolina
the SEC show. But yeah, I mean, there's a few programs that do that. South Carolina has worn the pinstripes for quite a while. Mississippi State wore them today as well. Maybe the powder blue just accents it a little better for you. Pinkies up for sure. But yeah, I think that there's 3 Trojans in the Supers. Skylar Meade and Troy, the only Trojans that survived to Omaha. They'll get West Virginia. Who those 2, Casey? I know this is SEC Sunday night, but now as we got to look at the whole field, are those 2 battling for America's team in that first game?
I think so. The way that it seems like it's going to shake out, I think there's no question there. The entire, I guess it would probably end up being the bottom half of the bracket could be 4 SEC teams, and in fact, it will probably shake out that way between Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia. The other side, basically the other side, North Carolina. Can North Carolina knock off Ole Miss and drop them to the losers bracket? Because you have basically, if you can knock Ole Miss off, which they look tough too, you have America's bracket versus the SEC.
Now, did you see yesterday when West Virginia, I think, closed it out? They're all singing Country Roads. Like, that was cooler than hell. I thought that was awesome. Like, honorary SEC status for our West by God Virginia fans. So,
and that's my point. That clip went viral, and I think that grabbed the heart of Americans. And then Skylar Meade and Troy are kind of the mid-major that's still out there swinging it and alive and been really hot. So that's where I say, one of those 2 teams are the ones that are going to become everybody's who are we pulling for here if we don't have a dog in it. Now, here on SEC Sunday night, speaking of having a dog in it, we obviously have a rooting interest, a coverage interest, whatever you want to call it, when we're looking at this bracket.
Where's the Big Ten at, by the way?
Yeah, they don't play this sport.
I guess not. Oh, so shout out to our good friend Hottie Toddy Strohs. We'll be talking Ole Miss tonight. When Alabama gets in, is it Omatide or Romaha? I like Romaha. I think, to me, like, you do Romaha and then you get your Jello shot and you're ready to go.
We will definitely get to the Jello shots and dig into that just a little bit as we get into Omaha. That's been a part of our discussion for the past few years.
Yep,
they're definitely the Tide are definitely a team that is going to have to be paid close attention to here as they just continue to find ways to win. The one that jumps off to me, though, is Ole Miss, and Casey already mentioned them. We're going to talk about them tonight on the football field. But as far as baseball teams are concerned, take care of Auburn in 2 games. Is anybody hotter? I mean, I understand what Georgia's been doing, but we've seen a little more consistency, I would say, out of the bats from Georgia. Is anybody hotter than Ole Miss right now? And don't look now, but in terms of coaches who have been there, done that, they got one.
And
They
he's
do.
been the one that they've wanted to fire every single year. You know, he wins a natty.
Oh, he was
Couple-
gone. He was gone
couple-
that year that they won the Natty, and they were the last team in the tournament
It's unbelievable.
and went all the way. And they said,
You just
"Never
win
mind,
when it
we're gonna give
matters,
you an
right?
extension."
Did
Just
you
win
see
when it
his
matters.
son? His son had a great tweet today, and if I was a good producer, I would have had it ready for you, but I don't. But it was something like, I went to church today, and all those folks at church wanted a guy with 900 wins fired.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah, exactly. And not anymore.
Not
Not anymore. They don't want him
Not
fired
this
today.
week.
They don't want him fired this week. And how can you want him fired? Period. At the end of the season, if after you make a run to Omaha, that's kind of that is the promised land. And if you're an Ole Miss team who gets hot at the right time, they just kind of lurked all year, right? Like they were always right there in it. And as we say, you get hot at the right time. Here they are. So
only team in Mississippi to make the College World Series in Omaha. I saw that tweet out there as well. The cute little graphic. Shout out to Southern Miss and Hail State.
Yeah, absolutely. Southern Miss didn't make it out of their own regional. So we'll continue to monitor. I want to take a moment to shout out on the softball field. Obviously, Texas goes back to back, so something to celebrate there from an SEC standpoint as well. The question for me going into this was, how would they respond to Texas Tech now having two quality arms as opposed to last year when it was really just Kennedy who was going to give you everything she had, and once that was gone, she was the main punch. Texas Tech had a couple of arms this year, but Tegan Kavan and Citlali Gutierrez didn't matter. Like they went out there and got it done on their end, and Tegan Kavan has gone above and beyond in her career. All the flowers to her. The career high 10Ks against Tennessee to get there. It just really she capped it off nicely, and the Longhorns go back to back.
I love it because unlike the football field, they weren't afraid to face those Red Raiders, and they showed that the Horns will stay up on top. So I thought it was fantastic. That was a great game Thursday night. I mean, it was like neck and neck, and then Texas just put it away late. So shout out to the Horns. And I have to ask this question. Is Texas the best program in the SEC right now?
In general, across sports,
I'm talking about the entire athletics department from top to bottom. We're looking at all the sports. They're stacking SEC championships. They're stacking national championships right now. Is there who would arguably have a stronger program in the SEC?
I think if you look at Alabama, honestly, is going to have an argument. You're gonna make the argument about championships, but if you look at finishes and depth of programs, their basketball team has made runs in the past couple of years. On the men's side, obviously the women's or the softball team was highly ranked all year in the top 5 and made a run there as well. The baseball team's still alive, as we mentioned, and weather pending could punch their ticket to Omaha tonight, maybe tomorrow, whatever that ends up being. And then obviously we know about football. We've previewed that. We've talked about it. What does Kalen DeBoer do this year? How does that work its way out? That would be one that jumps off to me to start off with in terms of programs that have done it at every spot. Casey,
What about hardware?
Your thoughts around that? Yeah, I mean, for Texas though, here's the question: you didn't make college football playoff in 2025.
We're looking ahead. We're not looking back.
We have to look back though. If you're looking at hardware, we can't look forward to any hardware. That doesn't count.
Don't bring more facts in here to skew my arguments.
They just won softball.
They have Arch. What more do they need?
See what happens with baseball. So that's a strong piece.
Yep.
Basketball actually made a run. We're not talking about, if you want to talk hardware, you can't talk hardware there, but a Sweet 16 run, which is significant. That's, it's different from sport to sport, Craig. I think honestly, in the way that we evaluate, and we've had this conversation on here of like in basketball, it has long since been established as a norm that a Sweet 16 finish is significant, and you kind of notch that. You can hang a banner for that. An Elite Eight, you can hang a banner for that. A Final Four, you can hang a banner for that. On the baseball side, super regional championships or regional hosts are things that you note. Obviously, trips to Omaha, which is 8 for those of you who aren't aware, are things that you note, right? And then national championships and national runners up, even in on the diamond sports, are things that you note because you made it to the final series. Football is now making that turn to college football playoff appearances are things that you note.
We expand to 36 or 48.
Quarterfinal, but then it'll just break down, and it'll be how many quarterfinals do you have, how many semifinals do you have, how many national championship appearances do you have. There's going to become more levels to football where we didn't have that before. It was just national championship appearances. It was just national championship wins. And you didn't have any layers. For a while there, we had like BCS bowl wins, BCS bowl appearances that kind of became feathers in the cap. But not now we have the college football playoff levels to it. And I think that actually helps us in that argument that you're making there, Craig, to evaluate who is the best program or overall athletic departments, because you can kind of stack up where programs are finishing on the different levels of different sports without having to actually hoist the trophy. How deep of a run can you make on each one? Because we consider that the vast majority of the world considers that success, unlike you, who only counted if you win the whole thing.
Listen, Mr. Granola over here doesn't believe that everyone gets a trophy, Rob. You don't get to hang a banner for everything.
I don't think everyone gets a trophy either, but there's only 12 teams to make the college football playoff right now, Craig.
This is the SEC Sunday night. Auburn men's golf won a national championship, and Texas A&M beat Auburn in women's tennis for the national championship at Georgia. I mean, just SEC all over.
Look at you.
South Carolina women's equestrian won a national championship as well. So
boom.
There's that. National championships and dominant programs across the SEC. We'll continue to throw them in there.
When did we become the College Football Inquirer with Dan Wetzel and Pat Forty with the obscure national championships? What was the meat packing? What's the one that they do in Texas? Is it the meat packing or like the meat observation? I don't even know.
I don't know. Dairy tasting.
All right, Casey, just to clarify, before we go to boards, can you give us the rundown? You have your bracket there.
I do.
Can you give us the rundown of SEC teams, just to make sure I didn't miss anybody in our discussion? We talked Georgia, Mississippi State. We talked Auburn, Ole Miss. We talked Alabama. We talked Texas, who just put it on Oregon yesterday. We talked about Oklahoma and Kansas, who is now scheduled to begin in 12 minutes and 19 seconds and counting.
That's it. You're all caught up.
That's everybody. So Oklahoma is up 1-0 in that series. Alabama up 1-0 in their series with opportunities to move ahead. Texas up 1-0 in their series, opportunity to move on to Omaha. I think the expectation as we sit here tonight, boys, am I reaching to say the expectation is for all those teams to advance?
No.
Given what we saw?
Up 1-0, you win 1-0. You're up 1-0. I mean, it's yours to lose, really. And Alabama's up 7-2 before they went to weather break as well. So that was later in the game as well. I think it was the 5th or the 6th, maybe, before those black clouds. I mean, that was dark over there in Tuscaloosa. Not sure what the heck was going on there. But, yeah, I think the expectation 100% is for 5 teams from the SEC to make it.
All right, Craig, one more question as we move into it. Just means more genius, and we invite the sultry tones of one Casey Cregan to tickle our ears. What is the expectation if all 5 teams are there in Omaha? Casey kind of laid it out for us. Bracket stacked against the SEC a little bit because it's gonna have to beat itself to advance. Do you still make the argument that you have to win it? Given I know that you're often going to say if you have that many teams, then you got to go get it. But if the way the bracket stacks, it does it really give you that much of an advantage that there's 5 out of 8?
That the bracket is tough, and like the way you lay it out, like I'm glad you sent me this early because I went deep into the Google and the Chat AG to find a quote that really sums up my thoughts from the Cleveland Indians great Jake Taylor. Guess there's only one thing left to do. Win the damn thing.
Yeah,
paraphrased.
Yep, just a little bit paraphrased, but no, I agree with you. We'll see.
Just win it. No, just win it. It's not go knock off the Carolina and their baby blue, wherever. What is that one team? Troy? What is this? I don't even know where that is. I don't
It's
even
in
think
Alabama.
about you.
It's right down the street from Auburn, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
We don't even think about them. We don't think about them. No, it's SEC. This is SEC Sunday night, Rob. It's not Conference USA Sunday night with you cheering for Troy or whoever the hell you're thinking about picking.
All right, Casey. It just means more. Let's begin in Bama.
Let's do it. MBG tells us Alabama did not pay players. They just outworked everybody. From our friend Crimson Ghost, who is responding to AZA Mug, who said, bingo, I hate when I hear opposing fans suggest Saban cheated, and a damn Bama fan will chime in, yeah, but they all do. Crimson Ghost says, Saban simply outworked everyone, and they had his boys kick the sheet out of their boys.
No lies detected.
Yeah, I actually agree.
That 2008 Alabama LSU game was that was where LSU didn't cross the 50. Wasn't that game?
That was rough.
How do we feel about people just automatically discrediting Saban and his comments on the whole of college football right now? It just feels a little salty to me. It just feels a little salty to me. I get it, and we can say like, "Oh, he hung it up because of NIL, and he couldn't handle it anymore, and he had to get out, and yada yada." Does that really discredit the winning that happened? I don't think that it does. Who are we calling that has a better grip on the game? Who?
Well, that's that. Sorry, Craig, but that your second sentence. Why do we even have to say that? Like, yeah, okay, he didn't. It wasn't that he can't keep up. I'm sure Nick Saban could have kept up just fine. He didn't want to.
Exactly.
He didn't want to deal with this. He had kids coming in who never played that were asking for money, and you're like, what is that? Like, I think that was the straw that broke the camel. I hate that second sentence has to come into play.
And I wonder too, like, if both things can be true, because he did stack talent very well. And I'm sure that they all just loved being in Tuscaloosa and playing for the GOAT is why they all went. I'm sure there was nothing nefarious going on. There was no McDonald's bags or Chick-fil-A bags that went on. But here's the other thing that I know, and we can check in on our friend FSU 3 times in Tallahassee. You have to be able to coach the Jimmies and Joes. And if there was one thing that Nick Saban could do, regardless of how he got players, regardless of how he stacked talent, and yes, would it be more difficult right now if Nick Saban was still here and trying to win? Sure. He probably wouldn't have gone on the same run. But he knew how to coach football, and he knew how to win.
So I think he
to
still
me, it's
would
like,
get,
he would
he
still
would
get
still
them.
get the Jimmies and the Joes. He just wouldn't be able to stack 3 deep at
Right.
every position.
Kirby
like
Smart
he
is
was
still
doing.
Kirby Smart, who's probably the closest thing to Nick Saban as far as amassing like the talent from high school recruiting, is still doing it, but not quite to the level because he can't do it anymore either. So that's what you see. You would still see them in quarterfinals, in semifinals, but that margin of error has reduced greatly. And I think that so that's why, to me, it's like both things can be true. Sure, he was able to stack talent because he had an advantage, but he's still a damn good coach and he knew how to use it.
It's still a developmental game, and it always will be. And I don't know that there's anybody who can develop it better than what we saw Nick Saban do. You guys good? I'm gonna hit a quick break here, and we'll come back with 2 more, and it just means more. Genius. This is SEC Sunday Night on the Chief Sports Network.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com HDLawSC.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
This is SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome back to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, and we are here with Casey Cregan for It Just Means More. Genius. And we've just we've had one board so far. Leaves us plenty of space for a couple more here as we move from Alabama to the plains of Alabama. What's going on in Auburn, Casey?
I don't know. MBG says maybe Auburn should move down to D2 so they can compete. Our friend TIGER, there's spaces in between those, by the way, guys, says, should Auburn move down to D2 where it can actually compete? And then he responded to himself 34 minutes later, because D1 ain't for Auburn. I guess he responded just to make sure that, oh, no, that was his normal one. No, that's a response.
That's a response. No, because his original, it was like the same time.
He probably had to explain it to his board users.
What is this in response to?
It's probably losing to Ole Miss.
Yeah, so you lose a super regional, and we're now going down to D2.
And maybe losing to Texas A&M in women's tennis too. Yeah,
that's probably what it was. I was trying to figure out what really triggered it, and you're right. It was definitely that women's tennis. No, look, this is classic, right? We have to. Can we point that out? Can we start there? This is message board if we've ever seen it.
Yeah, we love these.
You lost a super regional. You want to go to D2? That is quite the reaction, my guy.
Depending on the sport, though, D3 is actually better than D2. So you may want to think about it. So depending on the sport, like football, sure, D2 is better.
Feel a lacrosse conversation coming.
Little college lacrosse. If you look at the D3 national champions in Tufts, they're making the bracket. They're making a run at the tournament. They may win a first round game. I'm just saying. D3, D2, be careful.
Yeah, but
you heard it here.
Tampa baseball.
Don't you mess with D2 or D3 lacrosse.
Hey, listen.
Can't hang.
The producer of the Message Board Genius podcast, I feel like he's changing formats. He was all about Virginia and lacrosse last week. This week they were talking about Maryland. I mean, who talks about Maryland? You got to talk about lacrosse. I mean, crab cakes and lacrosse is what Maryland does. So
they haven't been good in years, though, in lacrosse.
It's been it.
Crab cakes are fine.
2 years.
Crab cakes are. You like Old Bay?
Yeah.
You put that in there.
I love Old Bay. All right. One more.
No. All right. MBG says this Mississippi State fan has had enough. Calling a spade a spade. We have a chicken shit athletic department from our friend Anon 17807732236. He says our big three sports are allergic to momentum, seizing the moment, and winning in general. I don't know how you fix it, but I won't be a part of the solution.
You know, I have two shout outs here for our friend whose name I'm not going to attempt to read. First shout out is the creativity in creating this screen name is just off the charts. I really want to applaud him and putting so much effort into that.
Is that his phone number?
Definitely wasn't auto generated at all. And secondly, being a part of the problem and not a part of the solution just is it's trendy, right? Well, just hop on the train and complain. Craig?
Is that his phone number? 780-779?
Call him.
The number short.
I should call him on the air, see what's going on. And I was worried. I picked this board this morning, and then all of a sudden, when Mississippi State decided to wake up and play baseball day, I'm like, karma decided to bite me on the backside. Poor Mississippi State. What are they good at?
Baseball.
They're good at baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah.
They're good at baseball. In fact,
And softball and women's soccer.
In fact, I would say that Mississippi State is one of the best baseball teams in the country. They just happen to get matched up in the bracket to go to Athens. Like if they get a super anywhere else, we're talking about Bulldogs in Omaha and the run that they're going to make as well. You can't convince me otherwise. They have a great staff. They have obviously a lineup that can smash it just as well as anybody else, and they just ran into the buzzsaw.
And they got to go to Buc-ee's on Friday.
There it is.
Which I guess was great. Fun fact, because I'm from Detroit, I've never been to Buc-ee's.
That makes one of us.
Yeah, I was going to say you are missing out. You are missing out. Okay.
They did a field trip. They did a field trip at work. The kids went on it for a weekend. They drove all the way to the Buc-ee's in Ohio and back. That was the only spot they were going to.
What's your like premium gas station?
Shell? I don't know.
Shell? Shell?
What the hell's a premium gas station? That's where I go and buy gas.
QT.
Yeah, like QT.
Around here, we have a QT versus Spinks argument, but if you go a little north to North Carolina, you're going to have a Sheetz versus Wawa argument.
We have a Sheetz somewhere by us. It's apparently they got like 25 gas pumps or something like that. I don't know.
All right.
I go and get gas.
Buc-ee's poops on that.
Yeah.
And you can poop really quickly, too, there.
And it's private. It's great. It has real walls on either side. And, take Buc-ee's out of it. QT, Spinks, in South Carolina specifically, are the best fast food restaurant in a lot of the small towns that they exist in. And I will stand on it. You can order better food at QT than you can at many surrounding drive-thrus options that are there with you. Okay.
So hang on. Shout out to Alex McDaniel, future guest on the SEC Sunday podcast at some point. She talked about how Mississippi gas stations usually had the best food, whether those were like burritos or fried chicken and stuff like that. That is a thing in Detroit. Like, we don't have great fast food in gas stations. We go to normal sit-down restaurants.
All right,
I know.
So we need an expert to weigh in on gas station food and other things.
We go.
So here in our crosstalk segment, as we move on to our Ole Miss breakdown in just a few minutes, let's just take a minute for gas station discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Marler is here. What's up? What's going on?
Listen, I know what you lack in gas stations and fine dining. You guys make up for in crime and stolen hubcaps. So
let's get Detroit. Good job,
beautiful
buddy.
city, the Memphis of the North. It is just a beautiful. Actually, everything I've seen, I feel like Detroit's gotten a lot better than when I went. I went there in like '99. Whoa!
You came and hang out with me, buddy.
Berlin.
How old were you in '99?
Berlin. I was like 14. I remember I saw them play the Cardinals in Old Tiger Stadium, and Mark McGuire hit 4 home runs out of the stadium.
That place was so special. Old Tiger Stadium was the best. There's a really great little bar. Nemo's just down the street, still open. Get a great, nice hot dog or a cheeseburger for the game and a beer before you go down through. But yeah,
Marler probably didn't go there when he was 14, though. Probably.
I don't know.
Not the bar. No.
No, you don't have to get a beer. You can. It's family friendly. It's not that big.
Bars?
Of a, no.
Speaking of
what bar did you go to?
It's Detroit, Marler. What do you want from it?
I heard you had a special take last week, Craig, about Texas Tech.
Oh, people got very sensitive about that one. My goodness, don't rip on the old Texas and the SEC. Ooh, jeez, calm down, Shirley.
What a win for Texas Tech to just be able to make up that they want to go play a game that they're never going to play. They have the rest of their schedule. They play dog shit teams for 11 straight weeks. Texas looks up and has to play Ohio State the very next week, and they called out the week schedule. Yes. It never said it was Texas Tech. Texas Tech volunteered their dumbass selves into the conversation, like, that's us. They're talking about us, guys. And then they go into the actual back and forth, and somehow Texas gets bullied because the internet is stupid. And I should never be defending Texas, ever. No. And it's crazy that we even had to go to that place.
Casey, you want to say
so what happens if Cody Campbell actually does buy out both Abilene, whatever the hell it is, and Texas State, and then Texas State and Joey McGuire just waiting at AT&T Stadium week 1, like, hey, where you at, bro?
I mean, if they do that, they should do that because the rest of their schedule is dog shit, and they need to figure out how to beef up the strength of schedule. And but again, it does nothing for Texas. It's like they have to go play. Like, there's few programs that have done everything that people have cried about. Like, they've done everything to correct it. They don't play an FCS team. Texas Tech does. They play 9 conference games. They're going north of the Mason-Dixon line. Like, all the stuff that they've moved the goalposts with SEC scheduling forever of, like, you guys are scared of the cold. Like, yeah, you know what? That's the one thing I don't think a bunch of 5-star kids from Florida are scared of is long sleeves. Call me crazy. I don't know. And so then you have this. Casey, good point.
My Dolphins still can't win in Buffalo. Marler.
I was fired up. And then of course I lost any sort of goodwill I had from Texas within a matter of days because I pointed out that their entire baseball team is chock full of douchebags, and they were like, "Hey, no, that's just how you play the game." It's like, no, it's not. That's dude. The guy sticking his tongue out at the player or the pitcher in between pitches, like, and not like in a like, I don't even know what the good way would be, but in an overly sexual way, it was like,
there's no good way there.
No, not in a cool way. It was like a weird way. It was like, anyway.
Well,
And Wawa is the best gas station, hands down.
There's no question there.
we're
What
underway
is
in
the
Lawrence,
best gas station in Baton Rouge?
and we're headed to the
Dude,
bottom
it's
of the
all
first.
Circle K's. It's all
Is that a good? Is that again?
No.
I don't know. I go to Shell. I fill up my
no,
gas tank,
and
I
that
leave.
sucks, Craig. That was one of the saddest things I've ever heard. That's like, hey, you like seafood? Like, yeah, I went to Red Lobster, but it was closed, so I went to Shoney's. Like, sick.
I said, what are your premium gas stations?
Shell.
He said Shell.
I did love the simplicity of his answer when he's like, I don't like just go get gas. Like I am a big gas station person. I like to go in there. I get way too much shit. I get like a 5-hour in a Celsius for sure. A snack I will eat, a snack I won't eat. Probably some sunflower seeds, a Diet Coke can. If they got a donut in there, probably throw a donut on there. I love a gas
How
station.
much are you spending at the gas
Dude,
station?
so much.
I'm not-
I don't get in
Craig.
and out of the gas station in less than $23. It's like the airport. Like there's no reason for me to go to a Hudson
There's no
News.
duty free.
Yeah, I go to a Hudson News and I'm like, I'll read that book. No, you won't, you idiot. You haven't read since the summer reading program in like 8th grade. It's ridiculous.
No,
Listen.
Pizza Hut's bringing it back. The Pizza Hut, they're bringing
they are.
Galaga back. They got the red cups.
I'm fired up
Salad.
about that.
Craig, we have to take you to a gas station down here that has all the food options. There's touch screen menu order things at
Wawa.
QT.
Wawa
Yeah.
has the best like chicken Philly you'll ever have.
Absolutely.
It's like elite.
We're custom ordering sandwiches.
That's
Craig.
why you get your own toilets. Like I don't know. I just feel
That's
like
Bucky's. That's
Dude,
Bucky's.
the Bucky, I think Bucky's is overrated, but it's also like a must to stop at. because
I
it's like,
absolutely agree.
they have everything you could. It's like Noah's Ark. It's like there's 2 of everything. Some of it you want to see, some of you don't. A lot of front butt in there, like a lot of front butt in there. But they also, Craig, do. They serve food in like a way that only fat Southerners would love because it's like in T-shirt sizes. So you're like, oh, I'll do a barbecue sandwich. They're like, would you like the 2XL? And you're like, the what? They're like, yeah, the 2XL. And you're like, no, it's a gas station. There's a fudge shop. There's no fucking, excuse my language. There's no reason a gas station should be making fudge. And they're like so happy about it. They're like, order up. You're like, shut up. Like, this is
Like,
crazy.
do they
Everyone's
have like the
enthusiastic about it.
do they have like the granite countertop and like making the fudge out there?
Yeah.
So you can, like-
And they also have a custom jerky section and a meat section as well. Like
It's-
a butcher.
Is it a
Yeah.
butcher?
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
And the
It's
ones
crazy.
the ones in Texas have like movie theaters and driving ranges. All right, Casey Cregan, appreciate you being
Why do
on.
you always leave when I come in here,
As
Casey?
always.
Because I have a kid and I have to put him to sleep.
You have to what? Whoa.
All right. It just means more genius every week with Casey here. And of course, catch the Message Board Genius podcast. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you
Thank you,
soon.
friends. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
All right. We're here with Chris Marler, and we're going to do a couple of minutes before we hit our next break, or our last break, whatever. Marler, anything on the race for Omaha here before we get into football? Because we are talking. It's our final week of previews when it comes to football.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Rebels tonight, as they went the deepest last year, so they were last on our list.
Okay.
And obviously some turnover there on the staff. I don't know if you've heard about it. So they do
Something
have
happened?
they do have a few coaching staff changes. And with that, some portal changes on the roster as well. But I'll give you a chance to comment on anything baseball related as one of our resident baseball experts.
So
and we see what's about to happen here, as there's a chance that the SEC going to have over half the field in the middle of the country.
which is like, and also the only losses they've had so far are 2 other SEC teams.
Right.
I think the big ones, if Oklahoma gets in, that'd be something. Like that'd be pretty wild if Oklahoma's able to get in over Kansas. Some really good teams. I think from the South Carolina standpoint, I'm somehow out of focus, which is natural and great. The South Carolina thing, this part of it sucks because you didn't get Schnall yet, at least yet. And then every other name that you've mentioned, including the guy from UNC, which came out of nowhere, it's like the moment they're mentioned, they're like, well, they're going to Omaha, and you're like, God dang it! Like that's just so that part sucks. I think from the SEC standpoint, it was wild watching what happened to Auburn. That's a team that like was really, really good on the mound all year, probably the best in the country. They go into regionals. They give up 13. They had given up more than 10 runs twice all year. They gave up 13 in their first 2 games. Then they couldn't hit with like runners in scoring position. That was pretty brutal. I love the Georgia team. They're really fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see what they do in a bigger ballpark. But most of their home runs are not like scraping the back of the fence. So that part's ridiculous. I think Texas is the most complete team because they just the way that lineup hits and what they have at the top end of that rotation, and they're very deep on their pitching staff as well. But it's been a really fun Super Regionals. That Georgia Mississippi State Super Regional was incredible.
So Chris, I have a question for you. Rob asked me this earlier. What does success look like for the SEC in Omaha? Like, is it good enough just to make it to the end, or do they have to hoist the banner and dogpile at the end?
They're most likely going to have 4 of the 8 teams in there, but since the SEC has talked about in a way that no other conference has talked about, it will somehow be, if they don't win and had the 4 teams in there, it's a huge failure. And like, never mind that they've had 6 straight national champions with 5 different teams that have done it. Like that in itself is crazy.
We also look at
I'd be shocked.
We look at the bracket and the way it stacks, they're all going to play each other early. Right. So even if that was my caveat is, they're going to have 4, maybe even 5. But if they do, they're going to have to get through each other. And then you're going to have West Virginia or Troy or somebody coming off the other side.
I don't think there's anybody else that they can't hit their way through. Like the Ole Miss UNC part sucks because whoever wins that is most likely going to win that side of the bracket, I would think. West Virginia's got some pretty good bats, but they also have a pretty short field that they get to have home field advantage in for most of it. I think it's like 325 down the lines. I think I would be shocked if they didn't get someone in the championship series because I think that would almost feel a little bit like the failure because if you weren't able to do that with, I'm trying to think of the right side of the bracket. It could theoretically be Oklahoma. It could be all SEC on the right side, so they would automatically
be Georgia, right? Texas to start off with probably. And two comments here on what you said. Number one, Oklahoma, bottom of the first, just took a 1-0 lead over Kansas.
Yeah.
And then on the South Carolina job, I think there's 5 viable candidates that are out there, and 3 of them are playing. Right. And the other 2 are Josh Holiday and Kevin Schnall. So gonna need a little patience, I believe, on that search because you got so many guys that are still live. Speaking of coaching searches that intersected postseasons in the playoff in college athletics.
Look at that transition.
Let's talk about Ole Miss.
That was good.
Let's talk about Ole Miss. You have options here when it comes to, you look at the parallel there with the South Carolina baseball search. Can you hire somebody and they go ahead and take the job? Do they take it, privately, and then the athletic department knows that, hey, we got them, but they're not going to make an announcement to ruffle the feathers while their team is still playing in Omaha? Or you can go the Lane Kiffin route, and you can say, I'm gonna take it, and I'm also gonna leave. You guys go play that thing, and
that's crazy.
We're gonna do what we're gonna do.
He wanted to stay. He totally just wanted to stay. It would have been totally fine.
I get what he's saying. I really do. Like I like being down here in Baton Rouge. Like anybody's been to both of those programs, it's a night and day difference of the resources you will have here versus Ole Miss, and that's like people don't want to hear that. But if you think about Ole Miss's relevancy over the past however long, they were not really super relevant until he got there. The only times they were relevant before this is when they were doing stuff under the table and buying some of the recruits. I think they were paying like $800 a month for what's his name, Larry Tunsil's apartment, which is like, that's a steal. Mm-hmm. Like that's crazy that would even be a big deal at this point. But like outside of that, I mean, they had those 2 wins against Bama those years. That's the only 2 back-to-back wins they've ever had in the program history. Like, and now you look at what Kiffin did, and it became very fun very quickly. But the expectations for them are always going to be lower than they are at LSU, which is it's kind of surprising. I'm not surprised he took the job, but like there's way more in-state talent here from a recruiting standpoint. Every year you're going to have 5 stars in this place. And listen, there's nothing else here. Like they don't want to go play elsewhere for the most part. Usually they grow up wanting to play for South Carolina. They want to play for LSU. And so they don't leave the state. Like traditionally and historically speaking, they do not leave the state unless Nick Saban's at another place recruiting him or something else is, weird happens. I don't love the way he went about leaving necessarily. I'm sure there was other ways he could have done it. I don't think it was going to change his mind. And I think that also like having somebody like Saban be like, yeah, man, I mean, like this is a much better opportunity long-term. Trust me, you can win there. I did there. I think it's very hard to turn down. Now, I don't know what the right way would have been. I know that there's no matter what, he would have been chastised for the decision because of how good he made Ole Miss. But he made Ole Miss into that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So let me ask you that because I totally agree with you. Like resource wise, you fall out the front door, you go into Houston, you're going to get those kids
right.
LSU quickly. With where he built Ole Miss, though, is it just more effort to sort of like maintain and kind of stay at that level than it is like to get to the LSU level? Because the LSU level, like you're going to have the expectations piece where like the resources and everything's going to allow you to get there from a talent level. But it's like you look how close they got, even last year. And you're like, is there really a difference? And you look at college football, like again, this decision 10 years ago, it's a slam dunk to go from Ole Miss to LSU.
Right.
Is the gap and the resources just that much better for him to make that move? And again, I've made a lot of jokes on here, but like that's my serious question. In 2026, is it that big of a jump knowing the pressure cooker and the expectations you're going to into Baton Rouge?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question because I mean, like if I'm being honest with it, like I'm around it every day, and also U.S. I don't know how to say this. The person in the chat is right. It's the worst roads in America. It's terrible. That part's terrible. But I think that your actual question, like, it's difficult to say because I think that if he stays at Ole Miss, he could have stayed there forever. Like if he doesn't win and get to the there we go. If he doesn't get to the playoff this year, I think that's a pretty big miss on his part. And I think that's exactly how it's going to be looked at. Because this is not you going in to get a good portal class. You went out and got the best portal class. Again, you spent $40 million on the roster, probably I think around 43 total. You went and got the best quarterback, the most important position. Hey, what's the second most important position? Oh, you went out and got the best left tackle. And what's the third most important? Edge rush. You went out and got the best one of those as well. You have unicorns like Trey'Dez Green on this team, DJ Pickett in the secondary, Ty Benefield, the safety they brought in. Like this roster is loaded. Like, and you took the best pieces of your coaching staff over. I love the Coach O part, but again, like if he stayed at Ole Miss, I don't see them pushing him out unless he had a bunch of losing seasons. Otherwise, he would have pretty much said that like I'll stay here for as long as I want to stay here because the success and the bar of success that is at Ole Miss was created from him, and so I think that's something to be said. I don't. It's also like I think that the more interesting part of it for me is he was the biggest villain in this sport forever. Like when he was at Tennessee and he was at Alabama. I remember saying when he went to Bama, somebody asked me if I was excited like that he was going to be coaching there. I was like, it's like that movie The Patriot. If that dickhead British guy. If all of a sudden he switched sides and was like, no, I'm going for American. And you're like, that. No, you killed Heath
Ledger. You're done.
Right. And so him coming into Alabama, but like you see what he's capable of doing. You don't have to be worried about getting a 5-star quarterback because he can go to D2 levels and go turn that guy into a potential Heisman finalist. So like there's all these positive things, but he really found himself in Oxford and like became this much better version, at least optically speaking, than he's ever been. Now he's back to being the villain again. And I just genuinely worry that he's so comfortable in that skin. Like he's very comfortable being the villain, the one that everyone hates, and blah, blah. And there's some people that can do it and it doesn't bother them at all. But when he did that, for such a long time, that's not when we saw the best version of himself. And so I worry that he's going to like kind of sink back into that routine. And that's not when he's been at his best. So that's, I mean, I don't even know if I answered the question, but it's very surprising that somebody who finally made it to where they were like, I have stability. I'm doing the best I've been. I have a foundation under me. And that happened in Oxford, Mississippi. To leave there after being able to finally establish all that it was very surprising.
No, and honestly, you did answer the question because I think we're on the same page. Because we have we have like the same questions. Like,
and one of us is allowed to answer it honestly.
There you go.
That's all I'll say.
Speaking of Oxford, since he left, obviously Pete Golding gets the job as the head coach in one of the more bizarre head coaching searches or lack thereof that we have seen in the SEC, given the timing and how things played out there. When you look at it, Chris, and this staff as a whole, obviously you mentioned Lane Kiffin took some pieces off of this staff. Pete Golding has to backfill some pieces here. You get a familiar name and somebody familiar with the Lane Kiffin system to come back and run the offense.
Yeah.
Your thoughts here I think the low-hanging fruit, I'm looking at the staff as a whole. How can they, in terms of pieces, and you got a couple pieces, honestly, that came over from LSU. Yeah. So how can the staff put together a winning effort in 2026? And the low-hanging fruit there is obviously, how does Pete Golding do in his first full season as a head coach running a program in the SEC?
Okay, so this is the thing I don't think people talk enough about is that point, man. It's a really good point. And that is, I love Pete Golding. I don't know if he's the best defensive coordinator of all time. I thought he's very meticulous. There's a video or an interview he did when he was under Saban and they were talking about some game. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that was when such and such happened. And he pulls out this like 3-inch binder and it says like Tennessee 2021. You're like, and he has them for every single game. Like he's very meticulous. He's laser focused on football. And I love that. Like he doesn't care about all the lane stuff. He doesn't care. They're not the ones for the most part that are really involved in any of that kind of stuff. It's more so coming from other people, like to them, and they aren't super vocal even when something is like positioned towards them. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like they're very, very focused on what they need to be doing and staying in their own lane, which is great. Now that being said, he hasn't been like the best defensive coordinator at Ole Miss. Like they had a really, really good unit in 2024, but that was loaded with NFL talent and guys on the defensive line and how disruptive they could be. Walter Nolan, all those guys. So my question is, it's not, are they going to be good? Of course they're going to be good. They have Trinidad Chambliss. They got some really good players in the portal. I think Caleb Odom's going to be really good this year. I love Michael Smith. I hate that he went there. I really thought that was going to be a kid that was going to be like a difference maker for South Carolina this year. There's so many pieces on defense for him at each level. The Renaud kid they got from Alabama, Farrelly, the kid they tampered with at Clemson and got
allegedly.
And they kept Kewan Lacey, who balances things out for Chambliss as well.
Right. And then they also have Jay Crawford in the secondary. And we just forget about Suntarine Perkins, who's been one of the best edge rushers in the conference for every, like 4 or 5-star. I think he's got like 18 and a half sacks and 32 tackles for loss in like 3 years. So there's so many good pieces. I think on paper, like I was lower on them until I started really looking at what they brought in from the portal class. Like I want to say they brought in 29 kids, over like half of them were from the SEC. Yeah. A bunch of them from like were ranked 4 stars or higher. I think it's like 40% of them were 4 stars or higher in the portal, which is really good. Very talented. Like I like the guy from East Carolina, but that guy's the OC he's not Charlie Weiss Jr. And it's not
Lane Kiffin.
No, it's not Lane Kiffin. And I think that's like Kiffin. You could sit here and say all the time, well, Kiffin, they should have beaten Florida, and there was all these things that he got in his own way, and the Kentucky lost a couple years ago. And like, that's fair. Like, that's all very fair. But we've watched every single coach that's come into this conference for decades now, in their first year especially, have some kind of hiccup. Like, and especially for first-year guys. Kirby Smart lost to Vanderbilt on a jet sweep, by the way, on 4th and 1. Like the guy who smashed mouth football all the time. You know, he lost to Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn. Actually, I think they got
Ole Miss. He got blown out. He got blown out in Oxford.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech. They beat Auburn, but they lost to Georgia Tech. And so it's like That's one of the best coaches in the country. Nick Saban, we all know what happened to him his first year at Alabama and what happened against Louisiana Monroe and losing 4 straight games to close the season. Pete Golding had a really awesome story, an incredible run through the playoff, and they were very close to getting to the national championship game. I mean, just like this far from getting skull dragged by Indiana like the rest of the country. But the thing is this year he's got a schedule that's pretty difficult. They got to play LSU. They got to play Georgia, Oklahoma. They got to play at Texas. And so I'm looking at – I think they got to play Georgia. And I'm looking at this and I'm like,
they do.
Man, if he's 8-4 off of those games alone, I think that's probably a fair point to say. But who's to say that he doesn't slip up somewhere along the way like every other coach and gets, like stubs his toe against a team they shouldn't lose to?
Right, you look at it, and Matt Luke's Matt Luke's a bad example because they had a lot of stuff going on when Luke came and took over. But at the end of the day, like, he stubbed his toe as well. And that's the thing is, like, it was easy for Pete to lock that locker room in the playoff because it's like, hey, listen, Lane left you, everybody left you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's everybody against us. That narrative doesn't work because it's, 8 months later now, and then you actually got to play football. And no one's going to give a damn about it because you got to come and you got to play. And I know we're going to look at week 3 when Lane comes back to LSU. That's going to be a circus. But here's the other thing that I know from just coaching myself. As a coach, you got to know how to manage your emotions because if you don't manage your emotions that week and you don't manage yourself the right way, then your players may get too jacked. And that game may be over before it even gets going. Because, if Lane gets hot early and Charlie gets hot early, they will keep the foot on the gas and they will, that could get ugly if you don't come correct in that game.
It's gonna be very interesting, and that game's gonna get all the attention. But we're gonna look. I got one more question for Chris after the break, and then we get a chance to pick this schedule. And Marler, you can dip or you can hang out and ad lib as we pick it. Either way, but we're going to talk expectations when we get back. This is SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network, and we'll be right back after this.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh, man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete, recovering from injury, or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
OTC is go.
Packet is go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Pilot go.
FTM is go.
Safety com is go.
STU is go.
LRD is go.
SRO is go. CDI is go.
Launch director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
It's SEC Sunday Night, presented by Hewitt Diamaduros. Visit hdlawsc.com. It's go time.
Welcome back to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, brought to you by Hewitt Damaduras Law, and is now tied at 1 in Lawrence, Kansas, headed to the bottom of the second inning. I'm here with my co-host Craig McMichael and our friend Chris Marler, and we're talking about the Ole Miss Rebels. Boys, when we look at what's going on with Ole Miss this year, I think we have to set the floor in terms of expectations. Obviously, coming out of a deep college football playoff run, the watermark has been set relatively high. What's the definition of success? And either of you can start here. When we look at Oxford this year for Pete Golding and technically year one, what does he have to do for people around there to feel satisfied?
Go ahead, Chris.
I think the bigger thing is kind of like we talked about before the break, which is if you can avoid those losses. I think 8-4 and losing the games that we mentioned, like Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and LSU, are more than acceptable, right? If he goes 9-3 with that schedule, he's probably going to make the playoff. But just the way that I think Ole Miss fans have kind of been conditioned to react over the past couple of years because of the way that the things have happened in their season is if they win one of those games, like Texas, Oklahoma, or Georgia especially, or LSU, I think they would. I think part of them would want to go 1-11 if it means they beat that like if they beat LSU in that game. I think there's a fraction of the fan base to be like, yeah, it's fine. But if they win one of those games and then lose, like say they beat Texas late in October or early November, whatever it is, and then they lose to like Mississippi State or somebody late in November that they shouldn't lose to, then it brings back all those same conversations of like, well, if we just wouldn't have like lost focus here, blah, 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 like that's and lost the team we weren't supposed to, then I think you start having tougher conversations about Pete Golding.
Well, I think you look to Vegas, right? Like Vegas usually knows what they're talking about. Over under for Ole Miss this year is 7.5. I think what Vegas is saying by when I see 7.5, that the golden era in Oxford is over, right? This is going to be a middle of the road SEC team. And like the Grove is going to be fun. The party's going to be hopping, but let's not think about the playoff. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for Pete Golding. Lane changed the expectation of what it meant to play in Oxford, what it meant to play at Vaught Hemingway. Won a lot of games at night, won a lot of exciting games in Oxford. And I think that is going to be the biggest challenge, is can you keep up that 9, 10, 11 plus wins? But it's going to be tough, especially when we go to look at a schedule that has, it's challenging, to say the very least.
I think that they get themselves into some trouble when we set expectations, and this has been the conversation. And as we wrap here at the end of our SEC preview, 16 weeks, Craig. First of all, go ahead and pat yourself on the back. I'll do it as well. 16 weeks.
I'm not one to do that, but okay.
16 weeks of breakdowns, running through every team in the SEC to look at coaching changes, personnel changes, and expectations. I think the biggest argument for me is always around expectations, because we can set the bar at a place that's like just not fair for some of these teams and coaches to hit. That was the problem with Arch Manning last year. It was unachievable to get where the expectations were. So I think we have to be careful, but we're also being realistic. These aren't our expectations necessarily as much as they are what we perceive to be coaching staff or fan base or school administration in a lot of cases where the seat may be a little warm, what the expectations are there. Okay. Let's look at the schedule. We just mentioned it. And every week here, Craig and I have picked 2 years ago, Chris, I was just under 75% accurate. Last year, it was down to about 70%. Craig has been right there with me every year.
Was it 69%?
Yep. So we pick every single game for every SEC team in the and we do it in the spring. So obviously we started this journey here in March, April, something like that. So you get some layups, but so that helps the average a little bit. But then you get some that bite you. Like I don't think either of us picked Florida to lose to South Florida last year. So some of those layups don't always pan out exactly how you want them to go. Okie doke. Let's take a look here. Ole Miss, and there's not a lot of surprises here. because we've already picked most of the schedule. They start off Nashville against Louisville. Does anybody see this dropping? I do not. I think they win this game. Craig?
I do. Jeff Brom is going to come in. Is going to ruin the party from the start. Again, it's the idea of hype train, the expectations. Do I really think Louisville's better? Louisville.
Back of your throat, just like that, like you're hocking something up. Yep.
Whatever it is. Do I think that they're absolutely better than Ole Miss? No. But do I think that Jeff Brom is going to give Pete Golding something to put in a 4-inch binder instead of a 3-inch binder? Yes, I do. I'm taking Louisville.
I don't think that's that far fetched. I don't think they're going to lose. I think they have too much talent. They're going to come out of the gates like that's like a pretty big win for them. Like with the first regular season game for Golding. But I also like if you look at the line, like you said, like it's 6.5. It's not a home game, and there's a lot of question marks for Ole Miss what they have this year versus last, and like I don't think that's that far fetched. People aren't talking about it though.
No,
they're not. And Louisville's one of those teams where I like Brom, but year over year, you just kind of don't know what you're getting. But sometimes they do start a little bit hotter than they finish.
Mason Miller's still going to be the quarterback.
Miller Moss.
Listen, it's not ACC Sunday. I don't even know the hell the Louisville quarterback.
I believe. I don't think is he there? Marler, do you know?
I have no idea. I don't think so, but
I don't think he's there either. Okay. So then Charlotte, we're going to give them. Let's go to week 3. Craig, we already picked LSU to win this game. Any thoughts of making that flip here? I'm not.
I picked LSU to win. No, I actually picked Ole Miss to win this game.
Oh, sorry. So
yeah,
I picked LSU to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm not changing my pick. Are you changing your pick now that we've talked it through?
No, despite the fact they're going to lose to Louisville, they're going to just totally blow up planes.
Okay.
I just think that the hype and the energy is going to be too big for this, and I do think that they find a way to win this one.
Marler?
LSU is going to win that game by 10 plus points.
There you go. At Florida, the darling of everybody's SEC schedules, the upstart John Summerall's Florida Gators. Like we said, we've already picked this one. I picked Ole Miss, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not buying Florida until I figure out who the quarterback is.
Yeah,
and I see him play an SEC game.
Yeah, I've flipped on this one as well. The Swamp is very hard to play at, as Lane found out. I think Summerall finds a way, and he may not have done it with Tulane, but he will with the Gators. And again, the emotional train. What does the coach do? You get the big win against Lane Kiffin week 3. You come out flat against Florida the next week, and you lose.
Yeah, I think this is of all the stuff we talked about before the break about like the schedule and like where you have little pitfalls and trap games. This is the biggest trap game of the year for them because everyone has talked about LSU nonstop, and it's one thing to have LSU, and I think win or lose. I think it's difficult to get up emotionally 2 wins in a row or 2 games in a row like this, but if they lose that game, and like think about it this way, if they get exposed in that game for some of the because right now there are some people that think that Ole Miss is like a top 10 team. I don't see that. I think they're going to be fine, but like if they get exposed in that game in ways that their old coach, kind of like takes from the woodshed, but like that mentally that thing can go sideways, and then you got to go to the Swamp, which in that case is like. That's the first program stamp or program not defining, but like big win for Summerall if that happens. I still think Ole Miss wins it, but that is a big concern.
Okay, bye week following that game, and then Craig, just an amendment here from the spreadsheet. Got to go back to Nashville for Vanderbilt to follow that bye week.
I had Mizzou.
You just skipped Vanderbilt, so everything else.
I don't even think about Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
I'm talking to you, Jared Curtis.
We picked this one already too. I think Vanderbilt's down. I'm giving Ole Miss the win. I don't think there's a whole lot of talking point there. Then you do have Missouri after that, and I'm higher on Missouri than maybe the average SEC person because I like Austin. I like the matchup there with Drink and the quarterback that Austin Simmons. Thank you. That played for Ole Miss last year. The Austin Simmons revenge game, if you will. But
I've seen Austin Simmons have one good drive
But
in Oxford, Mississippi. That's it.
But from a team standpoint, I'm gonna give it to Ole Miss. You sticking there, Craig?
Yeah, I'm going Ole Miss for the win. I've got Ole Miss. Sorry, Maggie. Austin Simmons does not find it, and this is like a 17-14 game.
Okay, we both picked Texas to go 12-0, so we know
Really?
we're going. Yeah.
What an idiot!
So we know what we're doing. We know we're doing the following week. So no discussion there unless Marler wants to tell us that we're stupid.
No, I don't mind that. I think that'll be a fun game in Austin, especially. I agree with you on Vandy. I do think Mizzou's going to be tricky, and they're going to lose one of them. Now, is that the Mizzou game's at home though, right?
Yeah, Mizzou's in Oxford, and that's always like my flip. Like if you think you're going to lose, are you at home or are you on the road?
Yeah. So I like that. I think that the Florida one again is like. I think that I have them coming right in 8-4. I don't want to give it away, but I don't think that Texas game is going to be. I don't think Texas is going 12-0. That seems crazy, but they are going to be very good. Maybe
Okay.
Seen Arch play? Arch is pretty good.
Yes, I have.
They also have a schedule that sets up
fairly
well, and if you get past Ohio State,
right. And I think that's the other part too, is that like there's so much of this in the schedule part of it where you're like, you look at the way some of this lays out for certain teams. Like LSU plays Ole Miss and then plays A&M the next week. A&M plays like Arizona State and Kentucky or something like that. Like there's a couple of teams that get some people in like really, really vulnerable spots. I don't know if this is one of them. I will tell you, of the two, I feel like this is coming right after Texas plays Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close after Red River.
Yep.
So maybe there's something there, but either way, I think I'm with you. I got Texas.
Okay, so then they get Auburn at home. I think this one is also a little bit tricky, depending on what that Auburn team looks like at this point. What does Byron Brown do? How's he functioning? What type of challenges does he present for Pete Golding? At the end of the day, though, if I'm looking from an upstart kind of position to first-year head coaches in the SEC, I like the roster as a whole at Ole Miss, and I'm going to trust Chambliss more times than not. When I'm in these coin flip situations with Ole Miss, Craig says, are you at home or not? I'm looking at the quarterback matchup. Who's out there captaining this ship that can take it down the field if it's needed to happen? And I don't know that there's anybody that I trust more in the SEC to do that than Trinidad Chambliss.
As much disdain as I had for like Hugh Freeze, I've really become like a big Alex Golsch fan. Like I really hope it. Like I don't know what it is, but like I want that to work at Auburn for whatever reason. You got four guys that are new hired to the SEC this year. I feel like Summerall, in theory, should be like he's the best one hired. Golsch, I think, is could be argued number two. That being said, I'm still taking Ole Miss. I still think again. It's that idea of playing at home. They're not playing at Jordan Hare in the House of Horrors. So
I agree with that. I think also that the good thing with Auburn this year is they're one of like there's several teams in the SEC that have this year, but like there's the combination of the offense and the play caller on offense and the play caller on defense. So like retaining DJ Durkin was huge for Auburn, and kind of combining that with Alex Golsch is a really big deal.
Yeah. All right, so. Then after Auburn, they go to Georgia. Do we have to make a big argument here? I mean,
it's at home. It's in Oxford.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And I'll say this too for Chris,
says
who
the
wasn't
guy
here.
who didn't have to watch Georgia lose a couple of years ago.
For Chris, who wasn't here, we also picked Georgia to go 12-0. So there's your SEC. There's your SEC championship matchup from SEC Sunday night. Dogs horns.
Who won 13-0, Rob? Who won 13-0?
Yeah, Craig picked Georgia to win the SEC championship. I picked Texas to win the SEC championship. So that's where we're gonna tie break on that one. But I'm assuming you're not flipping your pick because we just talked about Georgia. So you haven't had much time, Craig, to ruminate.
There's always time. I've ruminated on this. I went to mass this morning. I prayed on it, and even after the novena, after the Hail Marys, Dogs still came out on top.
You have thoughts here, Chris, on
Georgia's going to be very good. I don't like that. I'm concerned. I wrote an article about this, shameless plug on LouisianaSports.net today about this, but like the only concern I have for them is a receiver position.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to matter because the tight end talent that they have there, the offensive line is going to be better. It's going to be the best defensive line they've had. You and I talked about this, Rob, about the way this roster is constructed for South Carolina.
Yeah,
and how similar it is to like 2024. This is the closest that they've had to like a roster constructed like 2022 Georgia. Since that happened, the defensive line is going to be disgusting.
And you want to talk about schedule, just to kind of tip the hat back to last week when we did that, when we picked that schedule. That one, it only has a couple bumps.
Yeah,
Charmin soft, I think you said.
I did not, but we had Jonathan Williams here, and he said the floor is 9-3, and that's if you lose all three of your maybe games, and they won't lose them all. They won't lose them all, and so I think that's why playing the percentages here, Craig and I betting on them to win them all. You probably get 2 out of 3, but don't.
What are the toss-up games? I mean, Bama's breaking in a new quarterback.
But it's Bama in Tuscaloosa. That there's the challenge. There's Kirby getting nervous.
I don't know what he
Oklahoma and at Ole Miss were the 3 that were considered toss-up games technically.
They get Oklahoma at home and they get them early.
Yeah.
That's also interesting because I think they get Oklahoma bye week and then Bama.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Is it a healthy John Mateer early? Does that help Oklahoma?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Okay. So yes, speaking of Oklahoma, that's where Ole Miss is going the week after they play Georgia. I think they rebound here. Spoiler again, Craig and I are not super high on the Sooners, especially late in the season as they get beaten up a little bit. So going with the Rebels. Craig, you flipping?
I flipped.
Okay.
I flipped. I'm getting, for whatever reason, I'm believing in Brent Venerables and Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer.
All righty.
And I'm a moron, and trust me, I'm ready to clip this. Go ahead, freezing cold takes. But Oklahoma will beat Ole Miss in Norman. I feel so great about it. If Mateer can stay healthy, I still think Oklahoma could be like 9-3.
They're the only team I feel like in the SEC, and I got to run for this, but they're the only ones in the SEC that's like, I keep looking at them like, okay, listen, if you're Lane Kiffin, can you score 30 points a game? Because I think that defense is going to hold everyone under 20. If you're South Carolina, I think something similar is what we've seen with Clayton White defenses over the past couple of years. Like Texas is probably like that. There's a couple teams, Tennessee's probably like that, like just because of the way they are on offense. But Oklahoma's like the one that it's like, all right, can you score 20 points? Because I don't know if the defense is going to give up more than 17.
I was thinking 24, but that's right about the same idea.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's interesting about them. They also just didn't lose anybody to the portal of significance to their team last year. Like there's a couple of pieces that left. The running back that went to Kentucky, but he only played in 4 games. Obviously, the kid that went to Jaden Gibson that went to South Carolina, he hasn't played in like 2 years. They just didn't lose anybody in the portal of significance. And they're bringing back, like last year, the offensive line for A&M that no one seemed to like see coming was like, they had 5 starters back and they're all veterans. And they combined like 177 starts at the end of the season. I think Oklahoma has like 104 combined right now. And they are going to go like from left tackle to right tackle. I think they return like 6 players that started 6 or more games a year ago. So they're going to be much better. I got to rip, boys. That's all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Marler.
Chris
Marler
next
week, probably.
Off to watch Love Island. We'll talk to him later. Okay, Craig, that's
pretty full ambiance now.
That pretty much wraps it because Ole Miss closes with Wofford and Mississippi State, which we obviously already picked Mississippi State to be better this year, but I don't think they're like beat Ole Miss at the end of the year in the Egg Bowl, even though that's definitely one of those kind of toss it out type of games. Yeah. Still think the roster's a little too complete for the Rebels. So for me, Craig, my only losses are Georgia and LSU, which puts them at 10-2 for me. What did you have?
8-4.
8-4.
Still over the Vegas line.
I'm calling Miss Evie. All right. Texas already up 2-0 in the first on Oregon. And we're on Omaha watch here in the rest of the night in the SEC. I'm Rob Williams and he's Craig McMichael. This is SEC Sunday night. We'll be back next week with more storylines, more fun,
horns up,
more opportunities for you. We'll see you next time.